Here are 3 MIDI hacks to save you time in Ableton Live. The shortcut for creating a MIDI clip is highlighting a region and pressing Command-Shift-M. This is going to bring up a clip based on the size of the region you selected. You can make a MIDI clip based on the length of your song or a cut down section. This is very important for sync licensing, especially when you're working with 15, 30, and 45-second cut downs. For that, you want to measure out exactly what 15 seconds looks like, what 30 seconds looks like, and what 60 seconds looks like, which is around this amount. If you aren't sure about that, you can just highlight the region and then the bottom section will tell you the duration. So that's about 15 seconds, this is about 30 seconds, and this is about 1 minute and 2 seconds. You can also do the same thing with a full-length track. You want to highlight the entire region of the track and also make sure that you're listening to the reverb tail at the very end. From there, you can highlight whatever section you have and make a MIDI clip there. It's important to make sure that you're listening to the very tail end to make sure you capture the entire reverb tail as well as any fading you might want to add post-production. If you have any unused melodies that you want to keep for future use, you can save them on a spare MIDI track either at the top or the bottom to make sure you don't lose them for the future. And finally, with Ableton, you can key lock your MIDI clip, but you want to go to scale and select whatever scale and key you want to be in. For this, for example, we're going to be in C minor. So if you click C and then we're going to press minor, this is going to highlight every key that is in the key of C minor. If we don't want to work in that key, we just press this scale button again. And now anything that is highlighted in the clips color, meaning anything that's not gray, is going to be in key. This is important because if we want to work in the scale, but also have some sections that are chromatic or using borrowing chords, we want to click off scale. That way it's a lot easier for us to see everything. If you are working in a scale that is not included here, you can press the fold section and that'll include only notes that are in that clip so far. This is really important. If you working in a scale that's not super common, you can move and copy and paste all the notes that are in that key to the right side. And then if I press fold here, it's only going to include the notes that are in the clip. This can include notes that are outside the clip head. So if I want to make a template MIDI clip like that, that's in key, I can just duplicate this a bunch and all the clips are going to be in the same key. And finally, you can rename MIDI clips. I only use this for structuring out my song, especially when I'm working in multiple sessions, one for recording and then one for production. So what I'll do is I'll put in a bunch of MIDI clips, usually change the colors a little bit just so they're easier to identify, and then highlight each section based on what length they are in the song. From there, I can now pull this MIDI clip from this existing session and bring it into another one. So for example, if I press save and then I save as another session in this same project folder, I can now drag this structure MIDI channel onto that new section a lot easier. And now I have everything built out. So if I'm tracking a vocalist, I know exactly how the track is structured. This is really only important if you end up tracking with like a 2-track. That's usually what I do 90% of the time anyways, to make sure I'm not running into any latency issues with Ableton. What I mean by that is when you're done with the track and you have a vocalist coming over to record, export your track in full and then bring it into a second session, making sure that your start is the exact same moment as your production. So for example, if you start on bar 17, make sure your tracking session also starts on bar 17. Then we want to pull in the structure channel, and that's going to have all the MIDI clips highlighting each different section based on what is happening. That way, when you record, it's a lot easier to be like, hey, come in, 4 bars before the verse. So that's going to be right here. And it's a lot easier to then drag those raw vocals into the new session because everything's going to be lined up perfectly and it'll save you a lot of time. So hopefully that helps. Follow for more Ableton hacks.